Hi,
Hello.
my name is Dr. Akshay. He's Kishan. He's my colleague and a friend. He's also certified neuro linguistic programming practitioner and a life coach. And today we are going to discuss on the topic childhood trauma. So there is a lot of times, each one of us in our lives have gone through some or the other, either a physical abuse or emotional abuse, some sort of trauma, which a lot of times a lot of people, face, and it stays with them for life, and it affects the whole, it affects the whole system, and it works like as a baggage, and it carries out throughout the life, affecting a lot of systems in the body, not just as like physical symptoms, but it affects the mental health big time. um, I know the story of my friend here, and he carries a little bit of few instances of childhood trauma going on. I have few, and there will be a time I'll be sharing mine as well. And why we are doing this is actually coming forward to create more awareness for mental health, because there's a lot of times, uh, you know no people are very reluctant to come out and share their story. And because of this reluctance, there is a lot of harmful and ill effects which are happening to the mental health of an individual, and it affects their personal, professional, and altogether the whole life, in all. And with this conversation today, what we are trying to achieve is people getting more used to this talk and coming forward to share their issues, what has happened in the past, in their childhood, and whether it still affects them, and if it affects them, what level it can affect them, and can it lead to more problems or diseases in today's world or in coming future.
Yeah, hi. Uh, Here we are not going into the story of childhood traumas. Stories can be 100 types of story. Different people experience different kind of stories. So let's not get into the stories of childhood traumas and explaining it. Let's understand the mechanism behind it. What happens when childhood traumas happens to a child, and how it affects it, and what is the way out you can use to get out of it. Because. I observed in my case as well as the other people, that once the things happens in the childhood is that programs has become so prominent in the mind that the whole life is governed by those programs, and you are literally not aware that you are governed by the programs which was happened when you were child, and the situations and circumstances were different at that times. The choices were available with that child was very limited, and it got stuck there. So the programming behind this, the whole understanding behind the childhood trauma is something happened in the environment when you were a child, and of course as a child your perception about that event was limited to your understanding as child, of course. Then that things which happens at the time of your childhood was negative in the nature, was created very much discomfort in your body, and you felt trapped. The word is the trapped. When a child feel trapped and stuck in some situations, and he perceived that I cannot get it out by himself or herself, this trauma got locked in the brain of a child. So uh, so years and years later, he might have become an adult, but if he or she encounter the same kind of a situations, he again by default become that same child, and felt the same emotions, and try hard to get out of it, avoid it. And he felt helplessness, because he thought, I cannot solve it because I never did. But the thing is, when that childhood trauma happens at that level, at that times your understanding, your freedom and choices was very limited, and the kind of a decision you took that you can't do anything about that trauma, and you have to felt the pain which you are feeling right now even, is not true, because things have changed, environment has changed, your understanding has changed. So what we can do about it is, we have to, it's kind of an imaginary journey that we have to travel back and relive the event again with the new perceptions. And by doing this, things can little bit open up. You will realize it was not as bad as you thought. You will get the alternative perceptions about it, and this way you can actually start getting out of all those childhood traumas. This is the one way out of lot of ways. So this techniques normally called the inner child healing. You are going into the inner side of yourself. You're traveling back to the experience which has happened in the childhood times, and then you are reliving the emotions which was got stuck. Anything can happen. Emotions can release in so many ways out of the body. You can end up with a new perception, looking the same situations in a different way. I have seen people, they when they travel back and they realize, oh, it was not as bad, and in fact, because of that childhood trauma happens, life molded in such a way that lot of beautiful things also start happening because of the those events. So there is always the two side of the coin. So something happens bad, life appears in polarities. It is for sure that some other part of your life is getting positively affected. So there are a lot of things. So that's it, I think.
Okay, so I would like to put a incident here so that you understand a little bit more better of how childhood trauma carries on to your adult life, and it is a personal story. I will share it with you as an example so that you understand more about it, because there's also a possibility where you're still carrying those childhood traumas. You have it in your subconscious lying there back of the head somewhere. Your response in the trigger is also the same, but you're still not aware of it, that it is there, right? So during my childhood, of course, like any other child would make a lot of mistakes, right? And I had like a lot of while I was brought up, there would be a lot of screaming, shouting on as a child, and it is for the good cause, right? Because you want the child to learn. And few years back, there was very less awareness of the parenting techniques, and even from to the teacher to the student was not that great, right? Because now the skill set and the parenting techniques and all of things have changed in today's time, but it wasn't the same few years back, right? So anytime I would hear a louder noise that I would be screamed upon, right, I would shut down. So I would not speak anything for next 15-20 minutes or maybe half an hour, and I will just keep my mouth shut, because of the fear that, okay, I've upsetted somebody and they're screaming on me, and if I speak out anything, then I might get beaten up or slapped, or all of these things which used to happen a lot during our times, right? Not as much now, for sure, but yeah. So, and even if it is happening now, then this is the whole point of this conversation today. So so the trigger is what? That some like a loud noise to my ears is actually working as a trigger, as a childhood trauma that I've experienced. And the response is that I would shut down completely, not speak to anybody for half an hour or more or whatever time. And until few months back, what happened is that I had a friend who was screaming on to somebody else, and they were having an argument with a very louder pitch, right? And I was standing just right next to them, but I wasn't saying anything. I was just witnessing the whole thing. And after a while, and then me and my friend were driving away, and then there was like 20-30 minutes passed, and my friend asked me, what happened? Why are you so upset, and why are you not speaking anything? And that got me right back to my childhood, and I realized that even till today, any louder noise or that pitch is the subconscious mind. It takes like it as a trigger, irrespective of any what the scenario of today is, right? And my response is the same, that I will shut down. Now the argument of those two people does not involve me at all, and I should not be getting affected by it, right? But because I had that childhood trauma then, and my trigger was a loud noise, and the response is to shut down, I still carry it today. And since I've got this awareness and realization of it, The next time I witness a loud noise and everything comes, I smile to myself because I know what is going to happen. So I make sure that I speak a lot then. So this is how you can have more awareness and get hold of your triggers and like get aware of your triggers, and you definitely would know that what your response usually is. More than the times that you can ever think, there are so many instances from your childhood that you're carrying today in your adult life that must be affecting your relationship with your partner or with your parents or with your friends, because the response is irrespective where the trigger is coming from. So louder noise can come from anywhere, and that trigger can be different, of course, for you. And all you have to do is, you know, have more awareness and work, like he was telling us about the inner child work and healing. And as we both are working as mind coach, we can help you to, go into more details and work towards that as well. But like I said, the first step is always awareness, isn't it?
Yeah. And I would like to add something on this childhood traumas things. See, people say, I would say the highest intelligent people say child are born to be corrupted. There is no other way that childhood can pass, in a rosy pictures, because both things are part and parcel of life. You have to experience the pain as well as the pleasure things. So if you as a parent thinks that you can protect your child from experiencing these kind of traumas, it is not possible, first of all, because this is the part and parcel of the journey. It's gonna happen. So the only difference is, if it is happening one time, two times, or once in a year, it's quite okay. You can discuss with your child, in case you're as a parent, now your job is as a parent, you can discuss what happens when you open up the bubbles. Then and there, it loses its intensity and it cannot stored as a childhood trauma. But child will definitely experience all these things. So you also experienced it as child. There is nothing wrong about it. There is a journey of this childhood. Some people experience one or two traumas, some people experience lots of traumas. So when you experience lots of childhood traumas, your thought process becomes negative about this world. You become pessimistic, you see worlds as a threat, and this world is not in a harmony for you. So this kind of a perceptions is not constructive in helping your future development. So this is where you have to understand that whatever has happened, that's fine. It happens one or two times, or it's so many times, it has definitely changed your thinking ways. But best thing is that was the past and it's over. So the moment you're listening this video, the new awareness is already entering into your awareness, existing awareness, and which is going to be very helpful. So you will read about it, you will take the advice of experts, and you can go back in your childhood and pick up the experience with whom you want to work on, and it will definitely open up and it will definitely be healed. You will be through with that. You will have a new perception, and you can see the worlds with the new eyes. That's not a problem at all. But the first thing is, you have to believe that it is curable. It is the things which happens with everyone. It happens to everyone, whether people say about it or not. It's a part and parcel of the life. If that didn't happen in any of you with yourself or ourselves, we will never experience what is called the pleasure, pleasant sensations, comfort, or the happiness of life, because life appearing in the contrast. So be okay about all those things and work on it. Thank you.
Good. So, like what the goal of this conversation today was to come out and come out and share your story or work on your childhood traumas rather than keeping them inside. That's what the whole purpose is about. It's not a taboo anymore, and you have to come out and share these things out so that there is a healing response. It is not, otherwise you carry that burden all throughout, and it affects the people around you. It affects your people, not just people, but your relationships in personal. It also affects the state within, because then you've not healed over those memories and things like that. So look forward to the positive side of it, and see to it, like if you're watching this video now, then take it as a positive sign that okay, I think when there is help available and where you can get healed and you can move forward with it, then it won't be a problem anymore.
Yeah, I can promise you the life is so wonderful when you go beyond all these traumas and things. So don't worry about it. Start a new life.
Yeah, good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Cheers.